All right, welcome back. So this is another code.org challenge activity. This is burst effect, part of the velocity lesson. So there's a little bit going on with this one. It says create an animation that simulates an object bursting in random directions from the center of the screen. Each time an object reaches the edge of the screen, it resets back to the center. So this is really important. Understand that the center of the screen is where we need to be here. All right, so what we're going to end up doing is every time that it reaches a certain point, like right now, if it runs, it just kind of moves. And once it reaches the edge, it doesn't do anything. So what we want to do is we want to set up a couple checks here, actually 4 different ifs, so that if it ends up being like up in this direction or this direction, then we're going to have it go back to the middle, and then we're going to change the velocity, or have it go back to, change the velocity. Okay? So we're going to need, you can see, check if the object has disappeared off the side of the screen, so that means zeros. Reset its position to the center of the screen, set a new velocity to a random number between, and then repeat steps 2 for each of these on the top right side, top of the screen, bottom of the screen, and so forth. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. We're going to go ahead and drag out an if here. And we'll do this for the x. But we want to do less than or equal. So if the sprite.x is less than or equal to 0, and that's going to be heart, then what do we want it to do? Well, we want it to go back to the middle. Okay, and then we want it to, so let's go ahead and drag these here too. And that's going to be 200, because 200 is the middle. And then we want to drag out a velocity here for both the x and the y. And that's going to be a random number. And it's going to be these same random numbers that we have here. Now, it will choose a different number once it's down here, because it'll pick a number in this point, run through here, then it'll pick a different number. And that's kind of what we're doing. So the velocity will change for it. But we'll keep these the same. Okay. Now nothing's gonna, you can see that worked because our x location got less than 0. Okay? So now we'll go ahead and do another one. I'm just gonna go ahead and get rid of these. We don't really need them. We're going to do the same thing we did at this point. But now let's do .x and do greater than 400. Okay, so it ends up going up here. And it goes this direction. All right, so if it ends up over here. Okay, so oops, we don't want that yet. We want greater than or equal to. Then we need to reset it in the middle. Now, a lot of this is copying and pasting, so if those of you that know how to do the text, it would really be helpful. Because then you can copy and paste it. You can't really do that with the blocks. All right, so that is completed. Now we're going to go ahead and drag out another if. We need two of them, so let's just do both. So now what we need to do, very similar to what we did here, we'll do a greater than for the 400 right here. And this is going to be the dot y, the y location. And this will be less than, and that'll be 0. And then we'll do heart.y and heart.x. So we'll drag out, or heart.y for both of these, sorry. Because we already did the dot x up here. Okay, so now we dot and this is just setting it to the middle like we did before. Tab actually really helps with that because you can move from one spot to the next. And then we got the velocities. So we're going to drag out each of these. And just be careful that you spell them correct, as I just made a mistake. And then we want the random numbers. All right, everything looks like it should be good. Let's go ahead and try it out. There we go. Yep, that's what we want. So see how the velocities have changed? And then when it triggers one of these ifs, it goes back to the middle, depending on, you know, if it's less than or greater than a certain number. And this will run forever. Just doing this. All right, hopefully that helps you with your coding, and good luck.